Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to The Cosmic Catch-Up. I'm Corri.
And I'm Dana. We're real-life sisters who said no thanks to the 9-to-5 grind and yes, please, to the stars, spirit, and soul-led living.
Around here, we're talking ascension, astrology, human design, sound healing, and the messy magic of waking up.
So if you've ever thought, there's got to be more than this, you're our people. Two sisters, deep talks, whole lot of magic. Let's catch up. Hi, Corri. Welcome back.
Hi, Dana. It's been a minute.
It's been a hot minute for our audience, not for us.
Yes. Well, already we're filming this at the end of November, so already a month has flown by. I feel like we just did a transit update.
That was, I think, our last recording or something. We had all these grand ideas, but we also knew that this fall was going to be really busy for both of us, and that has been true.
And I'd be shocked if it hasn't been busy for y'all either, because I feel like we blinked and November was over.
Yes, it did go by fast, and all of time is speeding up. So we're going to blink and December will be over as well.
Yep.
And we'll be into 2026, and there's a whole brand spanking new kind of energy coming with that. So,
I'm excited for 2026.
Yes. Well, I'm always excited for every year, every shift. It's going to be wild. We're not done yet. But let's wrap up 2029 though in this 9-year. Well, let's talk about some of the energies we're going to be facing this month, because again, I don't like to go too far in the future because our timelines are shifting and the future is always malleable and changeable. So let's focus on the short term.
Yep.
What is the human design transits telling us about December?
Yes. Great question, Dana. So let's talk about the sun first, because that's our biggest energy. And the gates move through the sun about every 6-ish days, give or take. So we hit, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can call it 7 gates, but the last gate hits like the 31st. So we're going to cover that for January.
Okay.
But for December, what we're seeing is that, and by the time you watch this, we'll be in the gate 5 of fixed rhythm, which is one of your gates.
I love that gate.
You know what, though? I think everyone can use a little bit of fixed rhythm, because it really is about tuning back into ourselves, our own rhythms, what that looks like, and being a little more consistent there. And so that's going to hit on the 3rd. And then we move through, if you have your own business, December is always a good month because we're moving through gate 26, which is the sales gate, which you and I both have. But it's with authenticity. It's about selling and providing a value to I was going to say consumers, but really to anyone. It doesn't have to actually be selling a product or service. It's just an exchange that is valuable to both. We get into mid-month, the gate 11, which is ideas. And so it could be very inspirational. And maybe if you're shopping for holiday gifts or whatever it is, maybe you'll hit some inspiration and know exactly what you want to give. It really, though, is more about creativity and finding your own, again, stay in your rhythm, finding your own creative balance and inspiration.
Cool.
Then towards the end of the month, right before the holidays, I love this gate 10. It's the love of self. So make sure self-care, self-love, you're taking care of yourself. And especially as we go into getting ready to go into the new year, I think you can use that gate 11. Think about what you want for January and the new year, especially the year 1. New beginnings, and then provide some self-care for yourself. And we pretty much end the month and the year with a beautiful gate 58, the gate of joy.
Oh, I like that.
And so if you think about the month as a whole, it's all about our natural rhythm, focusing our energy, reconnecting with ourselves. And it's a month of clarity, personal honesty, and basically tuning back into what lights us up, which is a beautiful way to close. The drive to improve our lives, and I think that's through the gate of joy, it grows stronger and we feel more aligned as we go into the new year. So
that's
wonderful,
awesome.
wonderful gates.
Wonderful gates.
Love
for
the
that.
gates in December for the sun.
Yeah, pretty fantastic. What else you
Okay.
got?
Mercury's communication. So it's about bringing insights, breakthroughs, ideas. The mind may feel active, but it also wants consistency and rhythm because it It's going to hit the fixed rhythm. It's going to hit the sales gate. It's going to hit the gate of ideas towards the latter end of the month. And so communication really becomes more honest, direct, and you're going to see inspiration through communication as well.
Very cool.
Okay. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about Jupiter. So Jupiter, the gate 62 is in retrograde, and these outer planets, the gates last much longer, much like in astrology. There's not a lot of shifting, but I did want to talk about Jupiter a little bit and then these following planets because we're getting ready to shift into some new gates, which is always kind of fun.
Change in energy.
That's right. So Jupiter is staying retrograde in gate 62, and that's the gate of details. And so growth comes through clarity in details rather than big moves. So it's very internal. And it's going to help you refine your ideas, tighten your message, get organized, which is great, again, for the end of the year. Close out some stuff. I think it pairs nicely with the gate 36, Crisis and Saturn. Gate 36 is in our solar plexus, which our solar plexus is our emotions. And so it can feel very chaotic, very emotional as you ride different waves. However, because it's turning direct, and it means that this emotional intensity that we've been feeling internally should start to settle. And it's really not about new chaos, which the gate of crisis brings chaos typically, which we've seen in the world. But it's also about understanding what challenges that you have had, what they've taught you, and then how you gain clarity through steadiness as it moves forward. And we're going to be in gate 36 until late January. So as we go into the February transits, we'll have an update on where that gate is shifting for Saturn. But it's really about handling emotional waves with maturity and wisdom. And if you have a defined solar plexus, which we both do, we have to always monitor our emotional waves. The gate 36 just brings the chaos to it. However, if you're open, that's a whole new ball game, because I will say the energy should help ground you in that emotional wave. But if you're not used to feeling them, it can definitely feel more intense.
That sounds super fun.
And I have half of my household have open solar plexus. So yeah, it can be intense, but just observe. And I think it's really important too, and especially through emotional waves, to ask, is it yours? So if you're feeling chaotic, if you're feeling crisis, ask yourself, is this mine that I'm feeling? It could be the collective. It could be someone in your family, whatnot. So that's how I'd manage it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we've got Pluto. Pluto is actually shifting out of gate 60, which is the gate of acceptance, or what we call limitation. I think I like acceptance better.
Acceptance is a much kinder way to say it
than limitation.
Yeah.
But we're closing that chapter of trying to live through those limits and basically stepping into a year, because it's going to be in the gate 41, which is fantasy, which I love. So it's all about dreaming from a clean slate, right? So we're leaving behind that limitation or feeling maybe confined, or even managing your limitations, right? It's not a negative gate in and of itself. It's just how are you using it? Are you using it in the shadow, or are you using it in the gift? And so recognizing your limitations and living within that, or not. And so shifting into gate 41, it sets the tone for the entire collective. And so it's the seed. If you think about we're moving into a year one, the gate 41 is a little bit like that. It's new beginnings. It's the spark of desire. It's what do you want for yourself? It's the place of new stories and new cycles. And so I think it fits beautifully with where we're shifting into. And then I just wanted to cover the north and south nodes, because also we are shifting. We've been in retrograde for quite some time, but we are shifting gates. And so the south node is in human design is really what we're releasing, what we're letting go of, what we're leaving behind. And the north node is really about what we're moving towards and growing into. And so the south node's moving out of gate 64, which is confusion. And it's moving into gate 40, aloneness, which we both have. And it's actually a beautiful gate. They're all beautiful gates. 64 is really about mental clutter. It's in the head. And so used properly, it's about turning confusion into like where it makes sense. Fits right along with the Gate 36 crisis, where I think we've had chaos. There's been a lot of internal mental chatter.
Mental gymnastics we're having to go through, of this idea of two things can be true at the same time. And that's typically not how the human brain wants to function or categorize things. So that's right. Having to live in nuance is new for us.
And of course, based on your design, it's going to play out in a variety of ways. And for me, with a defined head and ajna, I always live in that mental chaos, but I can get very, very caught up in the mind. Mm-hmm. And so again, if you have definition there, it can be more consistent for you. If you don't, again, that's where the inconsistencies, and it can feel a lot more frantic, I would say. Mm-hmm. So again, it always helps to know how you're wired, because you can help manage the energy properly. So as we go into Gate 40, it really is about releasing patterns and one-sided responsibilities. And so the Gate of Aloneness is partnered with Gate 37 Friendship, and we're going to talk about that with the North Node. They make a connection, but the Gate of Friendship is all about being present, being active, community. Think about the party planner wanting to go in and have everyone over and entertain. However, the Gate of Aloneness is then, I need to step out of that energy and be in my own and recharge and reconnect. But there's a lot of responsibilities that come with that. And so it's being able to release, like there has to be mutual accountability, and you don't want it one-sided, like you're always doing everything, where there's not, you don't see that partnership through the Gate of Friendship. You want to see a balance of those responsibilities and accountabilities. And so again, we're really reclaiming that balanced giving as we move into the Gate of Aloneness. Okay, so with the North Node, the North Node's currently also been in the head of Gate 63 Doubt. I prefer the name the Gate of Inquiry, because you ask a lot of questions. And so it's been a month of inner questioning, inner clarity, and all about clearing out old assumptions, outdated beliefs. And we're actually moving into Gate 37. And this is, again, retrograde, and it's going to be all of 2026. So we're going to be in that for the North Node. So that's really about a softening toward community. I just mentioned it's the party planner, right? But because it's retrograde, it's about releasing old family patterns and then redefining that healthy support and being part of a community and your circle. So I think you're going to start to see a lot of that. And again, think about that in the collective. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing that shift as we go into 2027 is how do we are going to create our own communities, our own homesteads, create smaller connections, because you're seeing, to me, a little bit of dichotomy of AI and everything is becoming technological versus people wanting to reconnect in person with nature, with one another, versus being so separate and being on our technology and devices all the time. So
yeah, it was interesting. I saw, I don't know if this is in social or somewhere recently, where they talked about like, what if texting had come out before the telephone, and how the first time, like if you just always communicate with people through text, and then like you finally got to hear their voice, like that would have been so wild, right? Yeah. So we've kind of like this idea of shifting back to that personal connection, even if it is through technology, but like hearing their voice versus just reading words on a screen.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the month of December, human design is all about patterns around rhythm, honesty, responsibility, and personal empowerment.
Okay.
Which I think it'll be a beautiful month again.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So tell me about astrology. What have we got going on?
It's a little spicier.
Oh, okay.
But I think it aligns with everything you've said. This is definitely, from the astrological perspective, a month of growth. Mm-hmm. For sure. And how you grow is up to you.
I was just going to say, you set the pace for that growth and how you want to achieve it.
So, of course, we start off the month of December in Sagittarius season. Woo woot. not to be biased, but we'll have Mars and the Sun and Venus all in Sagittarius, and then Mercury is going to join in Sagittarius on December 12th. It just went direct on the 29th. So it's picking up speed, and we'll move through Scorpio and then enter into Sagittarius on the 12th. And remember that Sagittarius energy is more optimistic. It's very positive. It's freedom loving. It's truth seeking. It's blunt and direct. So I don't know if that's great around family holidays, but that's how it is every year. So here we are.
Yeah.
That's what it is every year. So remember, we're coming out of November and that Scorpio season, which was really about the deeper inner exploration. And especially we had Mercury retrograde that went from Sagittarius back into Scorpio. So a lot of this idea of like, I'm doing my inner work in November. December, then it's like time to come out of that state and ask yourself those questions of like, okay, what do I believe now? What is my truth now after having gone through those experiences of November? Like, what is that leading me to? So we have all this fire energy, right? Well, that's going to mix with water energy because we have the personal planets all in fire and we have some outer planets, not all, but some in water energy. And typically those are not complementary elements. If you think about it, too much water puts out a fire. And too much fire turns water to steam. So they don't often blend well. They can with practice and with balance, but just in general, we're going to have some clashes. So with that, we've got Jupiter in Cancer, which is a water sign. We've got Saturn, Neptune in the North Node in Pisces. So this means with all this, we're coming out of this inner work. We now are looking for heightened intuition. There can be more emotional highs and lows, so a little bit more volatility in our emotions. We're looking for flow because, again, water flows. So when we resist is when we get friction. And self-care is very critical. And you mentioned self-care being a key element in the human design aspect as well.
Yep.
Well, it's still very critical in astrology as well. If you think about the Pisces energy, because we have, again, Neptune, Saturn, and the North Node all in Pisces, that's that feeling of, I trust. I trust the universe. It's all going to work out. And the Sagittarius energy is more of the I know. It's more in the head. So those two can bump up against each other, especially if they're in conflict. And as we see out in the world and in our own lives, that can be in conflict a lot where we're like, I need to know, but we don't have the answers yet. So God is asking me to trust. That can be hard. So you're going to come in through those inner and internal battles and opportunities, we'll call them, for healing. So this is a month about surrendering, trusting. The Pisces energy is stronger than the Sagittarius energy because it's got more outer planets influencing it. All right. Each of these personal planets, as they move through Sag, which is Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Mars, are going to make squares, which is a 90-degree angle, a challenging aspect to the North Node at 13 degrees of Pisces, Saturn at 25 degrees of Pisces, and Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. So each planet is going to make a square 3 times to those other planets. Yay! Squares are challenging. It's a challenging energy, but it's meant to help us grow and push us forward. So it brings up stuff that we need to face and deal with. Again, it's not a bad thing because as we release it, we heal and we move forward and we continue up our spiral of evolution.
But I think what you just said is we need to release and heal it. If you don't, it's going to be painful.
Yeah. It's the choice, right? You can choose how you want to experience this. So if we don't release it and we resist it instead, it's going to be uncomfortable for sure. Internally, it can feel like you've been inspired and you're ready to move forward. But the universe is saying no or not yet, putting in roadblocks or bumping up against resistance or barriers. And that's really ultimately because the universe is preparing something in the background. Like it's still working in the background. It's like, great, I'm glad you're inspired. I'm glad you've done that inner work. Keep up with that inspiration. Keep working on your vision, but we're not going to move forward yet. Not just yet. We need to fine tune things a little bit more. These are both, Pisces and Sagittarius are both mutable sign energies. So this is requiring us all to be more flexible, more adaptable, get comfortable with change. Some people deal with change just fine. I have a lot of mutable energy in my chart. I naturally am more okay with change. Some people,
I'm not.
She has more fixed.
I have a lot of fixed.
She has a lot of fixed energy in her chart. Fixed energy tends to not want change. Cardinal energy only wants change if they initiate it. So again, it kind of varies by your
But now
own.
I really want some change.
Well, yeah, some of us are ready. But again, yeah, it's going to change. I think the only thing that's certain in life is change.
Yep.
And death.
100%.
From that perspective, this idea of we're going to be required to adapt to a lot of things. And again, that's likely in the outer world. And again, Corri mentioned knowing your design, knowing how you're made up can help you move through this a little bit better. Say, okay, I know that I don't deal with change so well. So here's what I'm going to practice instead, or what I'm going to do to help myself through this. So again, I like to look at all of life as just practice.
Yep.
So we're just trying things out. We're just going to see how it goes. And if it doesn't, we'll change direction. But this idea of practicing flow and not resisting. Do what we can there. We have a Jupiter's trining Saturn, which is a beautiful, trine is the 120 degree most positive aspect in astrology. We've got these two planets, one that's all about growth, one that's more about boundaries, are making beautiful connections, meaning responsible growth through your intuition, practicing it, putting it into practice, right? So the idea of Saturn's going to bring it into the physical form. So let's put things into practice, establishing healthy boundaries, especially as it relates to our emotions and around our families, right? Because that can heighten things. So being able to maintain that and maintain our nervous systems and having more responsibility around that, putting it into practice is great. So those are beautiful energies. We also have Neptune sextiling Uranus in Taurus. So Neptune in Pisces, Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is that planet of sudden change and surprises. We've had a lot of that. This beautiful aspect, though, is about spontaneous downloads, inner knowing, more of your psychic gifts coming online. We've been talking a lot about telepathy in the collective lately, and I've been practicing it even with family. We do it all the time. Mm-hmm. But then I started practicing it with her boys, and we're playing games. Do it in a fun way. We're playing games and we're trying to guess answers. And I'm like, I'm sending you the answer. I'm sending you the answer. Have fun with it. And it worked. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was fun. It was fun to do. So play around with that a little bit more. Now, we also have Jupiter squaring Chiron. And again, Jupiter is an expander. Chiron is that wounded healer asteroid. So this is an opportunity to gain wisdom by facing our trauma, which you talked about a lot of those things coming up in human design. So this is an opportunity now to, okay, how are we going to choose to deal with the emotions, the trauma, the limiting beliefs, everything that we've been churning up inside ourselves? How do we want to deal with that? So when we face it, and we work through those opportunities to heal, whether it's letting go, releasing it, that benefits us because we are wrapping up this 2025 9-year. This is time for closures, endings, culminations, completions. We got to get it off because we can't carry all of these old wounds into the 2026 year one and expect it to be a banger year.
Yeah, I'm still seeing several people spiritual bypassing occurring versus facing their traumas and their truth and working through it. And so I think you just hit the nail on the head. Y'all, if you have not been working on it, you've got to do it. You do not want to carry these burdens with you into 2026. You just don't.
No. That 1 year is all about those new beginnings. And we have an amazing 111 portal on January 1st. So this is the month to okay, let's just deal with it. I mean, I don't think we're ever fully done because we're always learning something. But when you're triggered in some way, when some feeling pops up, when some emotion you're faced with, some situation sparks something, okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Let's figure this out.
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different is not going to get you anywhere. And I've seen that a lot. I've seen repeating patterns over and over, and there's a constant thought that, well, this time it'll be different.
Yeah.
Nothing is different.
No.
You have to make the change.
So my natal Chiron is in Taurus, which manifests in me in a lot of body image issues. It's one of many ways it can manifest. And that's been coming up a lot for me in the last several months. I've put on a few extra pounds, nothing crazy, but enough for me to notice. And in the past, as you said, the pattern would be just to I hate the way I look, a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of, just bad feelings around it, not wanting to be in the mirror. And I'm like, okay, Dana, did that ever work in the past when you did this and talked to yourself that way? No. Never worked. Never made me lose weight. Never made me feel better about myself. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to change that now. So I'm just going to like practice loving myself. If the negative thought comes up, I'm going to redirect it and say, I'm really lucky to have a body that works and that's functioning. And I really love it. You know, all those things.
So we're going to sidebar for a second. Yeah. So I just heard about a Harvard study that was done. I don't know if this is true, but let's pretend it is. Harvard study that was done on body image and the negative self-talk, and your body can hear your thoughts too. And so even if you don't say it out loud, but you're thinking it, and what they found was obviously the body was not responding.
Doesn't respond well to that.
So when they started talking positively, saying, you know, you're safe, you're loved, you're happy, whatever it was, right? All positive words, they started seeing shifts in the body.
Yeah.
And we've heard that. We've talked about that because our body's made up of 70% water, and water responds frequency, right? Mm-hmm. And so positive words, positive frequency. So I'm much like you. I'm like, I'm just going to tell my body I love it every day, and that it's safe and
loved. And loved. It's great. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop that pattern. Yeah. Because it's not worked in the past. Let's try something else at this point. Let's face it. I've also done a lot of inner child clearing and healing over the last month to help with some of that too. So again, you don't want to carry it with you. Stop the patterns. Let's find something new.
Yep.
This is also that square of Jupiter and Chiron can mean that you are going to be brought in contact with someone who can help you heal and release those things, or you might be tapped to help someone. If you've been doing your inner work, you might be like, someone might come to you and be like, hey, I need you to help me with this. So there's an opportunity both ways for that, which is beautiful. All right, a few key dates to call out. On December 4th, we have the Gemini full moon at 13 degrees. This is creating a grand cross in the chart, which is basically like a giant square. So you have the sun and the moon in opposition, both squaring the north node and the south node. These are all in mutable signs. And one planet is in each element. So
interesting.
It's intense. I'm going to tell you, it's intense. It's a big activation full moon. So when we talk about release, like full moons are great for releasing, right? Mm-hmm. So put all that energy into release. This grand crosses, or grand squares, they're sometimes called, are meant to build resilience, oftentimes through struggle. So in the mutable energies, it's all about adapting and change. And no matter what, it's happening. So how you choose to respond is what's most important. So as these energies are stirred up, as things are coming to the surface, it's like, okay, I know that if I'm noticing it in myself, it means it's something I need to release and let go of and resolve in the numerous ways we've talked about on this podcast of how you could do that. I would give yourself, if at all possible, a couple of light days, you know, like maybe the 3rd through the 5th. Don't overschedule yourself if you can help it. Lay low. This is the great time for self-care during those days, because even if your emotions aren't running high, the people around you can be running hot. So you might just want to like detach from some of those situations if you can. If you can't, it's always great to drink extra water and go out in the sunshine.
Be aware.
Be aware.
And in Texas, it's supposed to be raining. So
yeah, so you might not have that opportunity. So again, you can sometimes just like, because we are in the winter months. In Texas, you can still go put your feet on the ground, but in other parts of the country and the world, you may not be able to. So if you can't put your feet literally on the ground, you can sit in your house and visualize putting them in the ground. And again, if you know your big three or your main elements, you can tap into those as well. So those opportunities for grounding and self-care. On the 11th of the month of December, Neptune stations direct at 29 degrees of Pisces. This is known as the anaretic degree or the critical degree. This is the final degree of the entire zodiac wheel. And Neptune's been at that before, but now it's going direct. So when it moves into Aries next year, it is in Aries, and we will not see Pisces again. So that's why this is important. It is about leaving the old 3D world behind. We are dissolving all the old ways of living. Pay attention, if you're interested, pay attention to the world as it relates to water. What's happening in the oceans, what's happening in lakes. There should be more disclosure around all of this. Think about extraterrestrials that live in the ocean. That was actually mentioned in the Amazon documentary, Age of Disclosure. There's so much about our oceans we don't know. We also have other outer planets in that have to do with oceans as well that are moving through. So pay attention to the water. We'll see what comes up in the next couple months there. On the 15th, Mars enters Capricorn. So the energy will start to shift from this fire-water dynamic slowly. It's just one planet moving into Capricorn. This is, again, our energy is going to be more about shifting to the practical. Like, okay, I've got this list of things I got to get done. Maybe if you haven't finished your holiday shopping or getting ready for that, there's like a list of things like I got to put my energy into the practicalness of life. So there's a little bit of a shift there. On the 19th, we have the Sagittarius new moon at 28 degrees, and that is it's conjunct the galactic center. So this is a beautiful, again, new moon's about setting your intentions. Really set that intention for new earth and how you want to experience that. Trust that it's all happening at the exact right time and letting go of the how. This new moon will be squaring Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. So there's going to be a little bit of a tension there. But this is about a more healing and supportive energy. So when you're setting those intentions, like it's really, when I say trust and not knowing the how, that's going to be the hard part. That's where that square comes in because it's going to be real hard. The idea is to surrender to it no matter what's going on in the outer world.
Our brains always want to know the how, and that's been me my whole life, is trying to control things. And I've really been working on that this year of, I don't know what next week is going to be or needs to be. I'm just going to focus on today.
Well, and we're even doing this, like we're flowing through it. You're like, I'm like, do you want to record today? Or you're like, I had a whole bunch of stuff come up. I don't really think I can, or I don't have the energy for it, or, vice versa. So it's like, okay, well, we'll come together when it's meant to come together and it'll work itself out. Yeah. So we're just trusting.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just trust. So if the stuff doesn't have to get done, and again, I think based on your design, if you have an open route, you're going to constantly feel pressure, which is both of us. And so really just letting go of that and knowing, okay, it'll get done when it needs to get done, and we don't need to worry about it. Just put it out there and we'll figure it out.
And that's been our practice, right? We're practicing that because it doesn't come naturally.
Right. It's hard.
It's hard. Yeah. But it's worth it. It's always worked out.
And it feels good.
I have no evidence to the contrary. It's always worked out.
Yeah. Agreed.
So we're good there. Okay. So on the 21st, we have the winter solstice and the start of Capricorn season, meaning the sun has moved into Capricorn. So this is the shortest day of the year, the most darkness. But out of the darkness comes light. So recommendations for this kind of day would be to rest, be quiet. If you can get silence and stillness, even if it's just for 10 minutes that day, that's a way to honor and celebrate the cycles and the natural rhythms of life. And you talked about even of Gaia. So that's kind of really joins in with that human design as well. So as the sun moves into Capricorn, we will then shortly be followed by Mercury and Venus eventually. This is really going to ramp up all of the practicalities of life. Like we need to get down to business. Capricorn is that business sign, as I've got goals and things to work out. The beautiful part of this is that all that fire, water conflagration, earlier in the month, water and earth are very complementary energies. So all of those energies that were squaring before are now going to be sextiling, offering new opportunities. So it's going to feel a little bit more flowy toward the end of the month. It's going to feel a little bit more aligned. So it was like you had this vision of what you want life or whatever to be. Now in that Capricorn energy, it's time to start planning it out. It doesn't mean you're going to take action. So be careful, because that fire energy still wants you to like go, go, go. It doesn't mean it's time to take action. It means it's time to create my plan. So what are my next steps going to be? And it doesn't have to be a 5-year plan. It can be, what am I planning to do tomorrow? Like in the short term. It's like, what do I need to get done? What do I need to plan for? So it's really like, what can I do today? And it can be, I'm going to sketch out a business plan. It can be really ambitious, or it can be, I'm going to take a walk today. It can be very small to say, okay, I realize today I need some extra grounding. What am I going to do for that? That's the planned things that we can do. It doesn't mean like go execute on this giant new, I'm going to go launch a business tomorrow. This is really about shifting your mindset as we go into 2026, doing less to achieve more. And the idea of, we've been in this cycle of, to achieve more, I have to do more, and it creates exhaustion. We work 60-hour weeks and we have very little to no happiness in our lives. And we've been practicing and having our own experiment that by doing less, I have time to be happy. I have time to appreciate things. I have time to enjoy my life and enjoy whatever it is I'm doing. So by doing less, we can achieve more happiness. We can even achieve more abundance through that. So we're shifting this mindset now as we move into this year 1, and that's going to carry us to our 111 portal.
I love it. It's exciting.
It's cool. It's exciting. I mean, we're not out of the woods, guys. And I would say that for the next couple of years, energy is going to be tumultuous, but we're waking up. More and more people are waking up to it. We have to show what's been behind the curtain. That's a lot of what that Pisces energy is about, of showing what's been hidden from us, and that exposure and disclosure. And of course, Pluto's involved in all of that in Aquarius. But we have to sort of see it, acknowledge it in order to let it go.
I love that. And I think also don't get too caught up in all of that. We've talked about that a lot, but I think for those that are watching or listening, you're awake to what's been going on, or you are getting there. And I would say don't get caught up in the news cycles, because again, those are for people who are completely unaware.
Right.
And the more you get caught up in it, then the more you're going to have to release that, because clearly there's still triggers there. So work on it. But at the end of the day, like I was hearing some stuff that was apparently happening over the past few days, and I was like, oh, I was completely oblivious. And I kind of just go, well, that's not for me. And so I move on.
If we really do look at it as a movie, because it is, actors, actresses, this is a movie. This whole experience is a hologram. So with that, if we can just be like, oh, plot twist, or, oh, that's interesting, or I didn't expect that, or, oh, that tracks for this movie. When we think of it and can detach from it in that way, then our internal world isn't messed up. Because we're trying to move to a place where knowing that safety, security, abundance, money comes from me and not my external world. That I'm the magnet that attracts it, that creates it. It doesn't come from anyone else or anything externally. Then we become detached from the crazy drama and the chaos and the crisis that seem to be out there. And you just feel a little bit more inner peace through that.
Yeah. And if you are still holding on to things that are what we call the 3D, understand why you're holding on to that, and then learn to let go, because it is crumbling, and it's going to be a further fall if you can't release it, if it's going to be forced upon you, versus you saying, okay, I'm ready to let that go. And I've had my own struggles with some of that recently, and acknowledging, okay, I wasn't ready to let certain things go, and now I am, and I do feel lighter after having detached.
But you had to go through the feelings.
Yep, for sure.
Whether it was anger, loss, grief, frustration, all of that. We had to go through those emotions. And again, don't repress them, experience them, acknowledge them, and then it's easier to let them go.
Yep, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Love it. Well, December should be an interesting.
Jam-packed.
Yeah. And sounds like we'll have a lot to talk about for January.
I think we will.
So not sure when we'll see you guys again, but we will.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
I promise. We just don't know when.
Yeah. So hope you all had a blessed Thanksgiving, and have a great holiday season. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for catching up with us on the Cosmic Catch-Up. If today's episode sparked something in your soul, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share the magic with your fellow seekers. You can hang with us on Instagram at The Cosmic Catch-Up for behind-the-scenes updates and more cosmic goodness.
And if you're feeling the call to go deeper, we offer personal guidance through our individual practices. All the details are in the show notes. And if it's aligned, we trust you'll feel it. Until next time, keep following the magic. The content we share reflects our personal experiences, insights, and opinions. We're not medical, legal, or financial professionals, and we encourage you to always do your own research, trust your intuition, and seek guidance from qualified experts when needed. Take what resonates and leave the rest. This journey is yours to explore.